This is Back of the Net and Beyond. My name's Danny Thomas, and today I'm going to be speaking to former professional footballer and ex-teammate Courtney Pitt. How's it going, Pitty?
Very good, Danny. Very good. Very
Nice
good.
to see you,
Can't
man.
complain.
You're looking well.
Bro, I'm trying to look after myself now, bro. I went through a stage of not looking after myself, and
Yeah.
you know what I mean. Yeah, I put on a few weight. I think I put on about 2 stone, mate, and I thought, nah,
Really?
can't be doing it. Yeah. I put on a bit, man. But when you stop playing,
Yeah.
you always add a little bit. But I went to extreme, not training. Then I was eating all sorts Chinese and chip shops, and that's not me, but.
Yeah.
I had to stop all that. So now trying to eat healthy and hit the gym and stuff like that.
Yeah. I think I'm one of the lucky ones then, because literally I stopped playing and I lost weight. I lost whole heap of muscle.
Really?
So yeah, I've lost weight. So yeah.
Yeah. You must be the lucky ones, brother.
So yeah. Cheers for coming on anyway. Appreciate it. Obviously, we haven't spoken in ages. We used to play together, and obviously we'd see each other on a daily basis. But just let us know, like, how's life at the minute for you?
Yeah, good, man. I can't complain, you know. Coaching, obviously, family. I'm doing a degree. Nearly finished that. It's in my final year, so
Nice.
yeah, I can't complain, mate. Can't complain.
Nice. So in terms of kind of coaching, what level are you coaching at? Who are you coaching? Is it kids or kind of?
Yeah, it's kids. I'm coaching at a Codsall High School. We play in the British Midlands League. So it's a sixth form academy, just for people who maybe dropped out of academies, like professional academies in the low end, and want to carry on playing football, but also get some education behind them and they do a sports science, a little BTEC course, and then that enables them to get into uni if they still want to do that. And we also go on a trip to America each year, so that allows them as well to go to America, and universities in America come and watch us play, so they might get a scholarship in America.
Yeah.
So a few have done that as well, and then you get another 4 years of football. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And if you obviously get a full scholarship, it's all paid for. So.
That's decent.
It's a good opportunity for them.
Yeah.
Also coach. Yeah, it's good, man. It's good. You know what I mean? Get my little football fix. There's a while where I weren't doing anything. I weren't getting any football, man. It was tough.
Wow.
I coach at JPL now as well. JPL Academy. I'm head coach there. Nice. So I coach from under 16s all the way down to under 7. So.
Okay.
Good, man. It's good.
Big broad range, and obviously you're still involved.
Yeah.
So you get that, like you said, you get your little football fix and stuff, and obviously everyone's predicament's different. Like for me, I spoke to people before, like on and off the podcast, and they say they miss playing football or rugby or whatever, like their chosen sport was. For me, like I don't really miss it at all, and I think that's probably because, aside from my character, but it's probably because my transition was pretty easy. Kind of, I came back from Iceland after playing a full season out of there. And then I had a bit of a rest just because I was physically and mentally tired, because I played a full season in the UK and went straight out there and played a full season. There. So it's like equivalent of a season and a half straight over here. So I came back, had a bit of a rest, and then I kind of thought, well, maybe still continue playing. I was 31 over at the time, and then kind of I was thinking, well, if I can get another club, continue playing, I'll do it. And then you know what it's like when you get to 31, 32, especially when you've had like a career in the lower leagues.
Yeah.
You speak to different clubs and they're kind of, you've heard this before. Yeah, come in on
trial.
I'm
in an Ari.
Yeah, and then before you know it, you're there for 6 weeks, you're paying travel every day, and then like at the end of it, it's like, well, we don't need you anymore, or we can give you this, but it's going to be peak. So I just thought, you know what, if at the age of 31, if you don't already know me, or if you can't ask someone about me who's coached me or trained me before or been my manager before, then it's kind of pointless to me. So I don't want to be going through that situation every year where I'm trying to find a new club. Before you know it, 35, 36, and no one really wants you anyway. So, and I had a family as well. So I just thought, well, apply for some jobs and whatever. And then literally the first job I applied for in property, got an interview, got a second interview there, and then I got the job. So it was always in my control. It wasn't like someone was saying, look, I don't think you're good enough anymore, or got injured or something. So I know that's happened to people in the past, and obviously that's a different scenario to handle. But in terms of yourself, obviously, so I don't know what your transition was like. So when you kind of finished playing, what was your process behind like retirement?
You know what? I didn't even think about retirement. You know, it didn't enter my head for a little while. When I lost 3 playoff finals in a row, and with Cambridge, 2 with Cambridge, and then 1 with York. And the 1 with York was my last one, and I agreed a deal for the next season if we got promoted. And we lost the final. Obviously, no deal. Ended up going back. Got let go by Cambridge because obviously I was only on loan at York. So they sent me back, and they said they couldn't take me to York next season. Couldn't afford it. York weren't a big paying club at the time. So I found myself with no club. And during that time, I lived in Wolves, and I was driving obviously to Cambridge, and then I stopped driving to Cambridge. Obviously, when I went on loan to Wolves, went on loan to York, and was driving to York, and I just thought, I can't do this anymore. I can't be dealing with that 2.5 hour drive. You know, like, because I used to stay up on a Monday and a Tuesday, drive back after training on a Tuesday or after a game Tuesday night, stay on a Wednesday, drive back up on a Thursday, Friday, come home on a Saturday, again do it on the early mornings Monday. And I thought, I lost my head. Can't be dealing with it. So I thought, right, so what I'll do is I'll find some local clubs around by me, which is not too far. But when I sat down and thought about it, there weren't that many local lower league clubs around. No, like the conference clubs around Wolves. You had Stafford Rangers, who was like dropped right down into 2 leagues below the conference. You had Telford, who were in the Conference North. Forest Green, that were in the conference at the time. So I end up going to Forest Green for a bit. So I went to Forest Green. I decided I'm going to go part-time. That was when I decided. No, sorry, I went to Wrexham, because Wrexham was still in the conference. But again, Wrexham, I was there on trial for about 3-4 weeks. And then, like you said, you're there 3-4 weeks, and then I'm driving to Bury St Edmunds, which is past Cambridge, to do a trial game, play against Sudbury. And then he ended up offering me like 400 quid a week. And I thought, full time. I thought, I can't, nah. I can't do that for 400 quid a week, mate. And it was still like over an hour from my house. And I thought, nah, can't do it. Can't do it for that. So in the end, I thought, right, I'm going to go part-time. So I applied for a few jobs. And I thought, right, I'm going to apply for Royal Mail, because I know that you only do the morning. And then I could be able to get home early, train in the evening, play on a Saturday, whatever, and be all right. So I ended up applying for Royal Mail, got the job. And then I went to Forest Green. I went to Forest Green on trial, and Forest Green offered me a deal. So, and they offered me, it was part-time at the time, and they offered me the same kind of thing, 400 quid a week, plus my Royal Mail. I thought, right, sweet, okay. So, but then the new owner came in, and they went full-time.
Right.
So he offered me part-time, and he said, well, you're going to have to go full-time. And there was a decision, or whether I just got the job at Royal Mail, whether I sack that off and go full time, and I couldn't do it because my missus just got pregnant. I couldn't take that risk of, and they only offered. So this was now October, and they only offered me till January. And I thought, I can't take that risk. Can't take the risk.
Too risky.
It's too risky. I had to obviously do what's best for my family. So end up going to getting a job at Royal Mail, and then playing for Telford for 2 years. Well, a year and a half, part-time. And it was all right. Yeah, it was all right.
And then,
Couldn't complain.
In terms of getting the job at Royal Mail, because for me, I know when I got offered that job, literally on the same day, within the space of a couple of hours, I got a call from Hereford. And they said, come and train. But when you train, it's just to prove your fitness. We actually want to sign you. So they said, literally, for 3 days, and then we'll give you something. But at that time, Hereford were going through a lot of financial difficulty. I think it was Martin Foyle at the time, who was a manager, so decent manager,
Right, yeah.
well respected in the game. And I just thought, you know what? I said to my wife, look, I know I'm going to have to work in a few years regardless.
Yeah.
So I said, every summer for the last 4 or 5 years, I've had
Been
a
scrambling.
season, and then
Yeah.
like you said, you're scrambling.
Yeah, you've been scrambling. Yeah, scrambling.
If you do get a deal, it's normally last minute, so it's not going to be the best deal anyway. And then, and even so, you may not even get a deal anyway. So I thought, although I've been offered something, in theory, I've been offered something anyway. I've been offered a job which I know is going to be hard to get, because at that time, and
exactly,
time, it's not easy to get jobs anyway.
No,
my CV is just sports based. So although I
did my CV same.
Yeah, so I sold myself in the interview, got the interview, and I thought, you know what, I'm not going to go back into that. Like you said, it was a bit too risky.
Yeah.
So I spoke to Martin Foyle, literally explained the scenario, and he said, look, I'll be honest with you, like, give him the chance that you've had, and obviously the opportunity that you had to go and work full time outside of football. He said, if I was in your shoes, I'd take it. So he said, look, I understand your predicament and that, and thanks for being honest. So literally, I haven't looked back since. So how was it for you? Because obviously you mentioned that you went for a job at Royal Mail and you got that job.
Yeah.
It's completely left field. It's completely different. Like
completely left field, mate.
Out on everything. So what
yeah, same kind of thing. The process was me. My main thought, because as I said, I still didn't consider retirement. It never entered my head. So my main thing was I play part time for a bit. So I played part time. It was like, I'd do it for this season, get this job for now, and then play part time, and then I'll get something full time, whatever.
Yeah.
But it didn't work like that. Obviously, it didn't work like that. End up, as I said, left field, Royal Mail, out of nowhere. But as I said, I left, same kind of thing with you. I've been playing, left school the week after I started my YT.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So there was I didn't do any qualifications, even though, you know, people tell you, oh, you should do a course, you should do this, you should do that. Never did it. So when I left football, I had nothing on my CV apart from my GCSEs and the fact that I played sport.
Yeah.
So for me to then get a job with my CV, I thought, I'm gonna have to take it. It's my qualification was either sport or the fact I could drive. That was it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That was my only qualification. So I thought I had to take it. So I went to. It was as I said, it was tough, mate. It was tough trying to transition from sport full time to Royal Mail. I'd say it to people now. I went from playing at Wembley in the May to starting at Royal Mail in the November.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
And this is why, and again, another reason why I do the podcast, because everyone's got a perception of sport, especially footballers, and everyone talks about footballers earning loads of money and having a great lifestyle and that, which is true in certain. But for me and you, especially, like, it's probably, I don't want to say harder, and I don't want anyone to feel sorry for us, but me and you started at, say, Premier League level, had a taste of it, and then we dropped down, and then I found that hard. I don't know about you, and I want to touch on that.
I found it hard. But, I found that hard, mate. Because it's completely different football.
Exactly.
It's complete, and people don't recognise it's completely different football.
Yeah.
Like people are making runs or not making runs, as you say. So you look for a path that you automatically would look before. It's not there.
Exactly.
And the options and this, that, and the other is completely different. I found that the lower I moved down, I mean, I ended up playing for Chasetown and ended up playing for a few lower league clubs, and I ended up knocking that on the head. And end up at Stafford Range, and I ended up knocking on the head because it was making me look bad. Because I kept thinking, I'm gonna go for that pass, I'm gonna shift it inside and go for that one. You go to shift it inside, and there's no one there. So then you actually have taken more touches on the ball and end up losing it. And then people are on you. I'm like, but you got to make that run. They just want you to hit it in the corners, and that's not that. You're trying to keep it.
The fans watching, they won't understand.
Yeah.
Especially the ones who maybe, I want to touch on this more later, but the ones that maybe saw you when you're at, like, say, Portsmouth or Coventry, and they're thinking, wow, like,
you say the same player. Yeah.
To him. And it's easy for them, and I can see why they would think that, because they think,
of course,
oh, that ain't the same dude. Like, he used to be decent. I hear it even now. Oh, he used to be good, and now he's rubbish and that. And it's like, then I have to try and explain to people, look, this is what's happening. and this is why this is happening now. Do you know what I mean? So, but I want to touch on that more in more detail later on. So we're going back to Royal Mail now. What was the interview process for that?
I had to do a test online. I can't even remember the test. It was just like a memory test online.
Like an
then I went for Then I went for interview in the office, and I relaxed because I weren't really that bothered. You know what I mean? If I get it, I get it. If I don't, I don't. Weren't really that fast. Ended up getting a job, and as I said, but during that time, obviously, I'm still looking at trying to get a club. So I weren't really thinking about. I ended up going. I would go into. I went to Bath as well, and they offered me like a month's contract, but Bath, flipping 2.5 hours away from my house. About a month, I was like, nah, I ain't doing that. Yeah. So with me, I'm still looking at clubs and this, that, and the other, and trying to think where can I go. That's not too far. that's quite high up. That's gonna offer me decent money. In the end, I thought, as I said, I can't take the risk. So in that Royal Mail, it's all right at the start. You know, it's a new job, but even then, I'm doing remote. I'll be only here for a few months. Right. So I didn't really even think about it like that.
Yeah.
But in the end, it was hard work, mate. Getting up early. And what I found hard was the night games. So the Tuesday night games, getting home late and getting up early.
Oh yeah.
Killed me, mate.
Yeah.
Killed me.
So then, like on a day to day, like what was your average round? Like how would it work? So you mentioned you're getting up early and stuff. How did that?
Yeah, I was up at like 5:30, 6.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Out in work for 7. Then home for, I don't know, maybe at 12, 1 o'clock on the tough days. And then obviously train in the evenings. But it's a physical job, bro. So, but I found that me working, I was doing it on Saturday morning. So I was up early on a Saturday. Obviously game day.
Yeah.
Up early on a Saturday, game day, rushing around, trying to get to, obviously finish my round, and then get to the game, play the first half, come the second half. When you sit down, the second half, I was done, mate. Half time.
Wow.
Half time. There's literally no point me going out to the second half. I was done, mate. I was knackered. Trying to pop Red Bulls, all sorts.
Yeah.
Done, mate.
I can imagine in a way, and like, I mean, that you need praise anyway. I mean, I commend you for obviously having the career that you had, and then obviously going down the postman route to support yourself and your family, because a lot of people wouldn't do that because, as you know, there's a stigma attached to being a postman, let alone a footballer
and a postman.
And then suddenly you're a postman, and people just don't understand. Certain people won't understand the mentality behind your decision there. I do, and I think I commend it anyway. And it's even better because I know you. So when you know someone and they've done that, and I just think like that's it needs praising anyway. It's like commendable. But what did it feel like for you? Like obviously, so you've got the job at Royal Mail, and then you're going on your rounds. So like say the first week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks in, or however like long you were there, what did it feel like when you were like dropping letters through people's letterbox?
So I didn't really think anything of it. As I said, my mindset was it had to be done. It had to be done. I had to start earning money. My missus was pregnant at the time. I had to start earning. I had to keep money coming in. So for me, it was just a necessary means. I had to do it. So the first few weeks, it was easy. Because it's a physical job, but I was fit. So I'm racing around trying to do it so I can get home and just chill. You know what I mean? So I was easy. Like I said, the tougher it got on, the longer it got on, the longer I went there, I thought, this ain't for me. This ain't for me. I need to start thinking about. Obviously, I played for another. I don't even know. I think I ended up stopping about in 2014, 13. Went Stafford, Telford, Chasetown, played for a few clubs.
Yeah.
And then I ended up stopping then. And then it was just getting tough.
It
was just getting tougher and tougher for me to actually do the work and do myself justice as well when on the pitch. So I praise all the non-league players that have done it for years and years and years, and getting up and doing that part time, because it's hard work.
Definitely.
It's hard work.
And so I want to touch on like your career right at the start now. So you're at Chelsea. It was Chelsea that you started off, weren't it?
Yeah.
Started off at Chelsea in the youth team. Just let us know the kind of players that you were playing with in the youth team. I think Leon Knight was there.
We had Danny Slatter, Leon Knight, John Terry. We had Carlton Cole, Robert Hoof, Mikel Forsell, Warren Cummins, works at Bournemouth now. We had.
I was at Bournemouth with him actually.
Yeah. Warren Cummins. We had Sam Della Bona. He ended up going to AC Milan.
Yeah.
We had a good side. We had a good side.
Team.
Yeah, we had a good side. We had a good side. I mean, I played with a lot of good players, and at that time, Chelsea weren't the Chelsea they are now, but we were decent. It was a decent club, but for me, they didn't look after their young players, especially their English British young players. They didn't look after them how they should have done. So they would bring, obviously, at that time, Luca Vialli was manager. Then we had Ranieri as manager. They kept bringing. Well, now it's more common, but they kept bringing young foreigners over, which is understandable. But the young foreigners they were bringing over, some of them weren't as good as the players that were already there. And they were giving them more money and looking after them more than the players that were already there. The British home, you know how it is. You work through the club. I mean, they're going to try to offer you the minimum as possible. So, it was good. I mean, I had a decent season, a decent 2 seasons actually before I left, and they offered me a new deal, but I decided to turn it down. It just didn't reflect what I thought I should get compared to I know what some other, because you hear and you know roughly what some other people are, know what some other people are getting. I just didn't reflected that, so I ended up turning down the deal and leaving.
Yeah, I mean that's got to hurt, and obviously that happens. That happens across the board. I've heard situations. I've been in situations where you're a homegrown player or players, and then they're bringing in foreigners from like abroad, Ireland, wherever, Italy, Spain, and they're just the same, if not maybe worse. Some of them are better, obviously.
Some of them you got no complaints to that though. You got no complaints if the Mikel Forsell came, mate, and he was unbelievable, mate.
That's it.
He was frightening, mate. So you're like, fair enough.
Yeah, so that justifies him getting what he was getting and the salary. The ones who are kind of bang average, makes no sense, and that's only gonna like aggravate the players that are already there. But you mentioned obviously, so at that time you said Chelsea then wasn't the Chelsea in terms of finances as it is now. I remember I was at Leicester, and I think I only played one youth team game against Chelsea. I don't know if you were playing or not. And I remember thinking, like Chelsea thinking, okay, well, this is going to be like, say, Arsenal or Tottenham. Obviously, the infrastructure and that. And I went there, we turned up the training ground. And we were
like, the Harleten back then, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The porta cabins.
And we were like, what's going on? This is Chelsea. They can change the porta cabins. And then I was thinking, okay, maybe it's just like the youth team and that. And then the first team got somewhere else. Then we heard that the first team are there and everything. And I was like, nah, this can't be right. So,
that's what I mean. The infrastructure of the club went there, but and then obviously you find that out after that the club were almost going bust and the Abramovich had to bail them out. That's obviously the reasons why. But the Chelsea back then weren't the Chelsea of now, and obviously they still were spending money. They still, I think the year I left there or the year before, the 2 years I left, they were in the Champions League. I remember watching Champions League football there a few times as a youth team player, because we used to get free tickets to the games. So we watched Champions League. They were still, but the actual infrastructure behind the club and the training ground and the finances weren't the same. Obviously, the same as it is now. They end up building Cobham, and it's completely different.
Yeah, it's mad. And you mentioned there, obviously, so you left Chelsea. They offered you a deal. You turned it down. And then you went to Portsmouth, and then you kind of kicked on from there. How was that experience?
Well, it was brilliant, mate. I tried to pursue more first team opportunities. Went there, straight out of reserve youth team football straight into the first team. So I played about 40 games in my first season. I thought I'd done all right, but manager got sacked. How it goes.
Always the same.
The manager got sacked. How it goes. I ended up scored on my last appearance for Portsmouth. Scored. Manager got sacked. Harry Redknapp came in. He wanted me to go on loan to QPR. I remember he wanted me to go on loan to QPR the next season. Had a meeting with him in the office. Asked me to go on loan. I think it was a week before the season started. I said, I'm not sure. I said, I thought I'd done all right. I'm quite fit because I come back to pre-season fit. I was one of the fittest there. Come back to pre-season fit. But I want to stay and see if I can fight. Got injured. We played Hampton Waterloo the week before the pre-season, before the season starts. Got a launch from behind. Someone done me from behind. Done my ankle out for 4 months. Done the ligaments my ankle. By the time I got back fit, Portsmouth were about 17 points clear at the top of the league. Never going to get in.
Wow.
Never going to get in. I would have got it. Would I got in anyway? I don't know, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I suppose
at that time.
And these scenarios, they always happen in football, and it's just frustrating. I had a few situations like myself, but when you're at Portsmouth, so who were you playing with? Was it, I think Crouch was there, Yakubu?
Yeah, me and Crouch signed the same day. So we were together for the majority of the time. We're both from London, so obviously we used to travel down sometimes from London together, and we'd end up buying properties in the same area, and so we was pretty much together all the time. But then he left. He didn't even last the season, so he got sold, I think, in the March that season to Aston Villa. So we had Robert Prosinecki there when we was there. Then when Harry came over, he bought Paul Merson. Then we had Teddy Sheringham, Reggie Kubu, Nigel Quasi, Steve Stone. Nice. We had a good side. Matty Taylor. Yeah, we had a good side. And that justified the fact that we won the league at a canter that season.
Yeah, exactly. I think I remember that season. Actually, you guys were flying. But yeah, so in terms of, so you went to Portsmouth. What was it like for your debut? Like, obviously, so you come fresh out of the team reserves, and then you debut. How did that make you feel?
My debut, I remember it was Wolves away. Wolves away. We played full capacity, 30,000. What it is, can't remember what it is, but it was amazing, mate. You know, you just feel that all the hard work you've gone through is paid off. Yeah. Getting on that pitch, all the boots you cleaned and everything when you were a youth team. Do you know what I mean? All the stuff that you done to get there is justified. I remember getting the pitch. I can't even remember it really. I can't even remember it because you're just adrenaline's just pumping, isn't it? So we end up. I think we drew 2-2. We was 2-0 up at half time, but they came back and drew in 2-2. But mate, amazing. Amazing feeling.
Would you say it's harder now, like compared to what it was when we were like trying to burst into the first team in terms of like everything? So football ability, the standard, as in like fitness and whatever else, and like technical ability on the pitch. But then also the things that you had to do off the pitch, like cleaning boots and initiations and all that side of stuff. The playing, but for youth team players then it was different to how it is now. Do you think it's, aside from obviously it's changed, do you think it was harder to break into the first team then, or?
I don't know, you know. I think it's pretty tough now. You can see by the limited amount of people that actually do it now that it's tough.
Well, it's hard to say, ain't it?
Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, I always say, look at managers who say they ain't got enough players to put on the bench and stuff like that. I'm like, but you got a whole under 23s and youth team squad that you can use. Just put them on, give them a chance. That's why you got them there. Yeah. Whereas in our day, if you was struggling for numbers or you had a 3-4 left backs in your squad, you know that if them 2 left backs got injured, you might have a sniffer being on the bench. I don't think that would happen now. I don't think that will happen. A few clubs will, but I don't think that if you're the 4th left back at the club, that obviously the first team might make a makeshift left back for that game or something. But I don't think that he'll put you on the bench. I don't see it.
That's true. Obviously now there's more money in it, and obviously managers get back to left, right, and centre.
That's what I mean. The pressure.
It's true what you're saying, because I was at Leicester at the time, so I made my debut at Leicester in the Premier League under
Yeah.
Martin O'Neill. And Steve Guppy was ahead of me, and like he was well regarded at the club and whatever else.
Yeah.
But so was I, and I was 18
Yeah.
at the time, and he was
Yeah.
I don't know 25, 26, and he was on the
Yeah.
verge of getting in the England squad. I don't know if he had made his debut yet or not.
Yeah.
And then he got injured, and a whole bunch of other players in different positions got injured. So there was a few of the like reserves, youth team players. I was still playing in the youth team as well.
Yeah.
We all got our chance. So there was
That's what I
literally
mean.
Steve Guppy, and then it was just me afterwards. There was
Yeah.
no one really else. There was a few left backs, like Callum Davidson, who like he's more of a left back than like a winger anyway.
Yeah.
So it's true what you're saying.
Yeah, I don't think that happens now. I don't know. I can't see it. I can't see. Maybe, I don't know. But there's that many now, and I think it is because you can be at a club now until you're 24 years old without playing a game. And
Yeah,
with the under 23 setup. So that makes it easier.
Yeah, and
that's
also
got to make it easier.
The money's
and
better.
the money's better. So you could be minted in,
like
hundreds in the without playing a first team game because the money's obviously filtered down from the top and got more in the Premier League and whatever now. So it's got to be easier in that sense because you still feel like you're part of the club. You still feel like you've got a chance and you can mature while you're still there. Whereas when you're younger, 18, 19, if you haven't made your appearance or even in and around the first team, you're unlikely to even be at the club.
Exactly. That's true, exactly. And for me, it was like, okay, so I've had a taste of the first team, but I'm still in the youth team, and just because of my age, and I'm still playing reserves on a regular basis.
Yeah.
And it got to the stage where I got to like 20, 21, which now you look at it, some players, like you said, haven't made their debut, and then they make their debut 21, 22 and kick on at that level.
Yeah.
When it was our kind of time to play, when it was our era, 2021, if you're not in the first team, you need to get out.
You need to get yourself some games.
That was my train of thought. I had a year at Leicester. I could have stayed there, even though they didn't really want me because we had, like you said, change of managers and stuff. I went to Bournemouth. So, I wanted to play first team football. So that was my motive to leave.
Yeah, same. I thought I was younger. I was 19, and I thought that I was highly regarded at the time. So I felt that the players in front of me. I mean, we had Gabriel Ambassetti. I don't even think you remember him.
Yeah.
And he was having one.
Really?
And I'm thinking the fans were on him. The crowd were on him. I think I was getting backing from some of the first team and some of the reserve senior players to like not obviously start, but be involved. I was training with the first team every week at this point. Me, Warren Cummins and Leon Knight were training with them all the time. So we were constantly involved with Ranieri.
Yeah.
And you're thinking that you're going to get a sniff, you're going to get a chance. Obviously young, so he still find his feet. He was new at the club, but he wanted us to stay. He wanted us in and around it, which is obviously good. But me being me, I'm thinking, I should be playing. You know what you're like when you're young.
Yeah.
I can't believe I'm not playing. Should be playing. I'm better than him. Not being very naive in how it all works.
Yeah.
I should be playing. And I just wanted it there and then. Now, I want to play. So that's why I ended up leaving.
Nah, I mean, I resonate with everything you said there. And sometimes I look back and think, did I do things too early? But then I wouldn't have done it if I didn't think it was right. So,
yeah, of course,
It's one of them. I could have stayed another year, and then before you know it, end the contract, and I'm struggling to get a club. So so you're at Portsmouth. You played a bunch of games, and then you're struggling to get in the team. You got injured, and then you've gone on loan. You've gone on loan to Luton. You've done quite well, and then you ended up kind of filtering down the leagues. You've gone to Oxford, and then we met at Boston. Obviously, I was where you were anyway. And it was weird. I was there and I was playing. I was left wing, and you were obviously a left wing. I'm thinking, come on, like, why? There's no league.
Why have you brought another left winger in?
It's one of them. So I was like, but then I thought, wow, we've got an option. One of us can play like right wing.
On the right,
That's what happened. For some period anyway. But you touched on it earlier. I want you to touch on it again in terms of like how hard it is to drop down when you've been up there and you've had a sniff of it and you thought, I can handle this, and then you filtered down for whatever reason, change of manager, loss of form or injury or whatever it may be, and you're now at say Oxford, Boston, no disrespect to those clubs, because obviously well-established clubs, Cambridge, York. How tough is it? Me personally, I know
Tough,
it's
mate.
real tough. But
It was tough for me, mate. But my first real hit of it, or first taste of it, was because I was at the season that I was Portsmouth. So I went Portsmouth, then I went Coventry, Luton alone, Coventry in the Championship, Luton was up there in League One, and then went back to Portsmouth. I was meant to go to Bournemouth at that stage, but he got blocked by Harry Redknapp for some reason. He blocked it.
Really?
And then, he blocked it, yeah. He didn't really like me much because we fell out a few times, but so he ended up, and he loves Bournemouth and he knows everyone at Bournemouth. So Sean O'Driscoll come in for me, and he said he obviously put a bad marker against me and blocked it because we played him at Luton and I played well, and that I was going back the week that was my last game on loan. I was going back, and then obviously Bournemouth come in and I ended up blocked it, but so I ended up going back to Portsmouth after my loan with Luton. And then I was there, I think, for all of the Christmas period. And then it come to March and I hadn't played. I think I'd done my knee as well. I'd done my knee.
Yeah.
So I weren't training. I was just coming back. And Oxford come for me. Graham Ricks come in for me at Oxford. And you remember, Portsmouth are in the Premier League now.
Yeah.
So I've been training with them. Oxford's coming in League Two. I think they were third in League Two at the time. And he was like, "Come to Oxford." I was like, "I don't think I can, you know. I don't really want to go to League Two. Really want to." Nah, they convinced me that we play the right way. You play good football. This, that, and the other. We're gonna play here. You'll love it. This, that, and the other. And it was like, it was the last. When back then it was the last Thursday of March, which is the loan window, or when the transfer window. So I ended up getting paid up from my rest of my contract from Portsmouth. Right, I'll just go Luton. They signed me to the end of Oxford. They signed me till the end of the season. And honestly, I couldn't believe it.
Really?
I couldn't believe it. Like, I was thinking, what balls constantly going over my head. Constantly going over my head, thinking, build up play. I'm trying to run in short, trying to set, and nothing going on.
Yeah.
And then it just didn't work. It just weren't for me. The style of football and the style of football in them leagues and the physical aspect, you have to get used to it. And I only was there for 7 games from March till the end of the season. And we ended up we were third in the promotion push, and we haven't finished 8th. We dropped out of the playoffs and everything. Jesus. Because it was just, and it was just tough for me. I think we ended up playing Boston in one of those games, and the fans were booing me. Oxford fans were getting on me because they were obviously thinking for some reason, Oxford fans thought I was on like 10 grand a week there or something, and like cleaning out the club. So they was on me thinking I'm getting paid too much and this, that, and the other. Yeah, I was only there for 7 games, but because they were third, and then when I signed, obviously third to dropping out of the playoffs, they blamed me for it. But as I said, it was tough, mate. It was tough. It was tough trying to get used to the style of football for one. I remember, but I'm thinking that making runs, the ball's not coming. Do you know what I mean? Like trying to make runs, but trying to think that people are just going to feed you in. It's not coming. Then you're setting.
Exactly.
Not coming.
And you know what it's like. So when you haven't got the ball as a team, you just end up doing a lot more running anyway. So you feel mentally more tired. When you've got the ball. But then as a winger, you know what it's like because we've both seen it and we've both seen it happen to each other. As a winger, if the team's not playing well, it's normally the wingers that get dragged off.
You don't get kicked, mate. You've got to rely on people to give you the ball, and then the manager's going, "Oh, you're not doing nothing." But you probably had about in areas where you can affect the game, you probably had it three times and a half or 3 times in 60 minutes. Yeah. And they expect you to do it something because they know you can do it. They expect you to do it every time. But sometimes you might get 1 out of 3, but they want this. Mate, it's tough, mate. It's tough. And then, as you said, the wingers are always the first. You watch football now. Always one of the wingers that will get dragged first, or centre forward, or a centre forward. If a team's getting beat or getting no possession, the centre forward or the winger will come off.
Yeah.
Always.
No, it's tough. it was tough for me. And like you said earlier on, you mentioned about like making runs, dropping short, trying to make a through ball. You think, oh, that's the right run for someone like the striker to make. You make the ball when no one's there, and people looking at you thinking, what you doing?
Yeah, what are you doing? And they're looking at you like you can't play football.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, nah, you've got to be there. Like, say you're a winger, obviously you're a winger. You cut inside and you want to pop it into the forward and make a little wall pass and get it. Like, you come inside to pop it in there, and the forward's hiding on the other side of the defender. You're thinking, where?
It's true.
Do you know what I mean?
What I found tough as well, and I ended up probably being guilty of this myself. So you can play that level higher, or you played, say, this isn't me and you, but like the lower league players who have kind of been at that level for a while, and they think, I can get out of this division, which is true. They can look the body and things like that. When you're playing at that level, so maybe not now, probably slightly different now, because I'm going back like 10 years. League 2 and below, League 1 as well. You're playing at that level, and I think I used to get frustrated because it seemed like everyone was greedy, because everyone's trying to show what they can do on the ball, have that extra truck, shoot from anywhere. If you're 2v1, versus a keeper, you ain't squaring because you want the accolade, because you want to score and then get on the score sheet and hopefully get that move.
Yeah.
I don't know how you felt. I don't know if you felt the same thing.
Yeah, well, I think that's to do with the level of player. I think that's to do with the level, because, as I said, when you're playing at a higher level, they make better decisions.
Yeah.
So it's just the level of player that you're playing with. They're making worse decisions than the better players. That's how it is. The better players make better decisions and do the simple things better. And the other players but in more times than often, they don't even see it.
Yeah, true.
The players don't even see it. So you're getting frustrated, but they're oblivious because they haven't even seen it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I understand. It's not like me blowing myself up or saying that it's because it might be how you've been brought up in your football education. Some people have played at a young age and build their way up, and as they're going up, they're still learning and gradually get better. That's how you see Vardy, and a lot of players are doing it now, where they start low and they're getting better. But as you get better and you get more coaching, you get your higher football education, then you start learning the runs and popping it inside and playing around corners and things like that. Whereas before, they're not going, because certain managers back then, you're going back 15, 20 years, playing it through the thirds was unheard of.
Yeah, that's true.
At the lower level, you had a target man and a little guy, and you're hitting a diag on the back stick for him to knock it down. I couldn't get my head around that. That's not how I would brought up playing football.
I mean, for me, I was lucky enough when I was playing at the lower leagues to have the opportunity in cup games to play against maybe championship clubs, sometimes premiership clubs, and I always used to relish that.
You found that easier. You found it easier.
Yeah, but
easier.
It's easier because you get more time on the ball. But I always thought I can handle this. I didn't feel nervous in any game anyway, especially those games. But I remember like in certain teams that I was playing in, I remember like this is probably so back end of my career now. And we're playing. I'm at Portsmouth. We had like a meeting, just a team meeting as you do. We're playing Everton in the cup away.
Yeah.
You got the opportunity to have a little chat and stand up and say what you need to say. And mate, you know what I'm like in the dressing room. I'm just chilled out. To say I'll say it, but like, remember one of the boys stood up and he was like, blah blah blah. Like, we're not gonna win anyway. Like, let's just enjoy it. And I listened. I just lost my head. So I said, nah. I said, as a team, we can't be going into any game thinking we're gonna lose.
We're gonna win.
How many times have you seen cup upsets, lower league team beats the Prem team or Championship team or whatever it is? So I said, that's the wrong mentality. We ain't going there to look around and take pictures. To try and win the game. But then I was thinking, right, so I've now said this, and this is my train of thought.
And people are going to back you.
Yeah, the coach is going to back me and understand. And I remember the assistant at the time, he was like, maybe like, you're saying this because of the level you play that he won't understand. And I'm like, no, we all need to collectively understand.
Yeah, that's a mentality. That's a mentality.
I don't want to be going on the pitch and playing, and you're my teammate, and I'm thinking, well, I'm trying to win, and you're thinking, I hope we do okay, or I hope embarrass myself.
Embarrass yourself.
So I don't know. There's different facets to it, and it is tough. The whole everything, eating, facilities. Another thing I always think about is like, it's easy or easier when you're a Premiership team or Championship team, decent facilities.
Yeah.
Like psychologically, it's easier for you to say, right, after training, I'm going to stay behind and do stuff. We've both been in this situation before where you live 2 hours away, you need to get home because you've got a family or you're in a car school and everyone's doing something else. So you can't really stay behind. And then when you do stay behind, then you go back and the showers are cold or the kitchen's closed, so you can't get any food.
Yeah.
So there's all those things to contend with. So
you can't really prepare yourself properly in terms of going to the gym and as you said, trying to do extra at training. You can't do no extra at training because you got to get off.
Can't do it.
You can't do it.
It's crazy.
You have to. Sometimes you have to actually drive. Obviously, whoever the minibus assistant or someone's driving to the training ground that you're going to. You know, you're getting changed at the ground and driving to another place to train. So by the time there's no staying and doing extra. You have to get back up and go back on the bus to get back to the ground to get changed.
I remember people running in after training just so they could get a hot shower and that.
Exactly. Exactly.
So all those things in those lower leagues, and then I managed to get an opportunity to go and play in Iceland, and they actually kind of came in for me. So I was like, bonus, I don't have to like ring around and like on the strap heap. They actually want me to sign. So it was early doors in the summer as well. So I went over there, and that was probably the most professional I've felt since I probably left Leicester, left Bournemouth. Because like it was a team.
Well, you didn't. Do you not feel professional at Boston, though?
Mate, it was tough. We had to just try certain things. We had to just try and make it as professional as possible. But it was tough.
Man.
What kept me going at Boston was just the car school.
The lads, man.
Yeah, you in the car school.
No, Jay Lee. Yeah.
But again, the team as well at Boston, like we were all right, and we had like a good team ethic as well, like decent banter and that. But it was just tough. But yeah, so going back to Iceland, I'm in Iceland now, and like the team's proper professional. They're sponsored by Adidas. You get free gear, which I'm not saying it's all about getting free gear and that. It makes you feel wanted.
But you felt like a pro. You felt actually like a pro.
Yeah, decent fan base, decent stadium. We had like an Olympic gym in the stadium, so I'd go there. I'd go there I was in the gym every day to the point where I put on half a stone of muscle. So it was crazy. So I thought, wow, and I wanted more of it. Unfortunately, it didn't happen because finances and whatever else, and they just went for a slightly cheaper option. And obviously, I was on as well. So for them over there, it's easier for them as well as anywhere else, really, to bring in a youngster, maybe train them up, pay them less, and then sign them on, because that's generally what they do there anyway. That's why there's a lot of like Icelandic players across Europe playing like Sigurd and whatever else. But yeah, so I mean, so we've touched on obviously how it felt to play lower leagues and whatever else and travel down the leagues. When it came to retirement, did you get any help at all, like from anyone, any ex-players?
Nah, mate.
Any organizations?
No, nothing, nothing, mate. But again, as I said, I didn't really think about retirement. Then when I did venture retire, I just that was it. I just retired. So then I was retired. I stopped, just carried on working for a while. Then I'd done that for a while, and I thought, I can't keep. I don't want to be doing this for the rest of my life. So I ended up going to uni and getting the coaching jobs, stuff like that. So.
And at uni, what were you studying?
I'm studying sports science and physical education.
Oh yeah, because you said you're still studying, so yeah, okay.
Yeah, I've got 1 day left. I'm in my final year, so.
Okay, and how are you finding it?
Mate, it's all right. It's all right. It's mostly just common sense. Obviously, it's a bit of writing, and it's more time consuming than hard.
Okay.
It's more finding the time, obviously, because I got family and and work and stuff like that. I was but even then, your work and family and stuff like that, you got to find time, and that's the main thing that I find hard, because you got to put the work in at certain times, do the essays and do the research, and that's more what it is, time consuming than the actual work, I think.
Okay. And then, so in terms of athletes in general, so I'm talking all athletes across the board, different sports, different ages, male, female. Do you think more help's needed when it comes to retirement? And it could be retirement
definitely.
at the end of your career, or even like at the start, or in between.
I think that scholarships, especially in League One, League Two, should always because I remember when I was in the youth team, we done like a leisure and tourism
Same.
B Tech or whatever you call it.
Yeah.
And but I think you should give them a trade.
Yeah.
At least give them a trade so that they got that. If they, by the time they're 16 to 18, give them a trade. So even if it doesn't work out at 18, they've got something behind them. They could go and do, I don't know, whatever they want to do. And that should be compulsory. It's not hard. That should be compulsory.
100%.
That should be compulsory, or you can't get your pro.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? That should be compulsory. So you got that there regardless. So regardless of what happens, you make pro, because you know what football like. You can get injured. You can sign a big deal, get injured. By the time you're 20, never play again.
There you go.
Trying to convince people to do it. If someone told me that I had to go and do a carpentry trade, or it don't have to be something like, or business management course or whatever at that stage. Yeah, whatever. I ain't doing that. I mean, I'm going to play for 20 years.
Yeah.
Doing that. But it should be compulsory, or you can't sign your contract. That's what I believe. I think that's got to come in.
100%. I agree with that. And especially with all the money in football now, all the money in reserve and that, I don't know how much it is exactly, but it can be easily be implemented. And I think going back on what you said there, I'm going to flip it on its head. So your mentality, as well as probably 99% of the players out there, I'm not going to be doing a trade. I don't want to go to college and play. I just want to play. Now, if they came to you and said, like, pity, we rate you to see you getting in the first team in a couple of years, but in order to get
these course, mate. Yeah.
You're going to have to go to college, and you need to show that you're funding. You need to show that you're doing well in order to get there. Then your mentality is going to be, you know what? I want to get there football-wise, so I'm going to try hard in whatever I'm doing, course, workplace, whatever it is. And that's
and it doesn't have to be
to say.
And it doesn't have to be. You could have a choice of courses, plumbing, something simple, just anything. But you got to get one before. Anything, you got to have the qualifier, or you're not playing, and that's it. And I think that's got to come in. So regardless of what sport you're in and whatever, I think retirement will hit someone hard. I mean, it was tough. It was tough for me. 20 years of football to go and to roam out. You find it tough to adjust. And as I said, now I'm getting my football fix every now and then. It's easier for me, but mate, it's tough to just go from not playing, from playing to no football whatsoever. Tough.
Yeah. For me, it was
tough.
different.
And some people struggle.
Yeah. I've spoke to people before, like yourself, and they found it tough. For me, I didn't find it tough just because my scenario was different. That doesn't mean to say that I don't have the same feelings for kind of what needs to be implemented. As I mentioned, like the earlier you target it, so 10, 11, you say, right, you still got 4 or 5 years before you even like get to youth team level. But when you get to youth team level, you're going to have an opportunity to sign a contract.
You've got to do this course.
You're going to have to go and work in an office once a week or whatever.
Whatever.
Go to college. You can choose from X, Y, and Z. All the way.
You got a list.
Yeah.
You got a list. So in the list, you must have something you might be remotely interested in.
Yeah.
When you're young, you must something PE teaching or work experience in the school or whatever. But I think that should be made compulsory, because by the time people leave, like I did, I left with, as I said, nothing. And people will say that's your own fault and this, that, and the other, which it is. You could always do it in your own time.
Of course, yeah.
But when you're playing football, your focus is on football. Back in the day, if you told your manager, I can't sleep tonight, or because I got uni, I've got to stay up and do an essay at 10. You're like, what? No, you ain't doing that.
Exactly.
You ain't doing that.
And that again, that's still happening now. So that mentality straight away needs to be stopped, because again, the results are there, that the stats are there to show that if you've got an outside interest which isn't harbouring or a hindrance on your performance on the pitch, it's going to make you perform better on the pitch.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
again, as in a youth team, like I said, the earlier you hit it, the better.
Yeah,
in a
youth teams.
that's probably the
It's
best time to
ideal.
start doing it.
Ideal, because you're still young, you still got energy. Yes, you're focused on getting a pro and getting in the first, but you're young enough. You just and you've just come out of school as well, so you're automatically still in that framework of doing the work.
Exactly, and it's only going to give you a further insight into what life is like on the other side, because again, so when we spoke about retirement when we were younger, it was always a negative, and I know it's still in some quarters now in sport, especially football, it's a similar scenario of what you're going to do afterwards, this, that, and the other, and before you know it, you're in problems. But retirement shouldn't be seen as a negative. It should just be seen as transitioning away from whatever your chosen sport is, because you're only between the age of, say, you've had a career.
I was
normally 30.
I was 32. I was 32, 33 when I stopped completely.
So that in life,
and you've got another in life you've got another 50 years, mate. You got
life turned.
You know what I mean? You got
So it's a scenario where it's tough, because from the outside looking in, so when you speak to all your mates, like your mates that you grew up with at school, when you retired now and you're thinking, okay, what am I going to do? They've already gone through their apprentice in whatever they're doing.
Yeah. And they've been probably working in their line of work for 10 years or longer.
They're already kind of middle management, if not like CEOs, or they run their own business.
Yeah.
So we're already playing catch up straight away.
Yeah, starting from the bottom,
to a certain degree. And that's another thing that you need to be prepared to do, because when I stopped playing, I was buzzing. Yeah, look, I've got a job, happy days, and it was a respectable job. Yeah. But I had to take a pay cut, so I was earning probably, I'd probably say a bit more than a quarter of what I was normally earning in football.
Yeah.
But I knew that, right, I've got my foot in the door. I'm lucky, in inverted commas, to get a job on City Street.
Yeah.
But I know I can progress, so I don't want to stay at the bottom. But I've got my foot
of course.
Show what I can do. I learn my skills. I get my accreditation, and then I keep moving up the ladder. And that's basically what I've done. So the message essentially is you just need to be prepared, because I think sometimes players, they just think, right, I've got this lifestyle, I need to stay and stick with it. I need to have a flashy car, a big house, or whatever, which is great. And if you can continue doing that, that's fine. But what I'm saying is, I hear people saying, "Oh, I've lost my identity." Well, how have you done that? Your name is your identity. It's not. It's not Courtney Pitt, the footballer. Anyone that thinks that's up to them. But it should. You shouldn't be thinking that. I didn't think it. I know you didn't. Think it, but I'm just saying, like, in general, like, you shouldn't be thinking, well, if I stop playing, people are going to look at me funny or judge me.
Yeah.
If they want to do that, then
they will though. They will though. They do though. They do. You know they do.
Yeah.
How have you gone from here to there?
Yeah.
I said, well, how have you never gone there?
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
It's just life.
It's just life, and you have to move on. Like, I look at people ask me about I don't really talk about my football career now, because that, for me, it's gone. It's like a different life completely now. It's you know what I mean. This is now. This is my new life. I don't hardly, if someone obviously mentions it, then but I don't ever, people who I've worked with would never have known that I played football, because I never bring it up. I don't bring it up to anyone. I don't go around telling people I play, because that, for me, is gone. I can't even remember half of it. I can't even remember half of it. So I don't even look at it like, Courtney Pitt the footballer or Courtney Pitt ex-footballer. I just look at it, Courtney Pitt.
That's it.
And now moving on, the family man.
That's it.
You know what I mean?
To be fair, that's exactly the same as me, and I like it that way. And like I said, or like you said, someone says, "Oh, I didn't know you used to play football." Oh, you didn't ask. I'm not just gonna introduce myself.
I'm not gonna just play it out. Yeah.
Just say, "Oh, my name's Andy." If you want to ask, then fair enough. I'll answer whatever questions you've got. But like, for me now, I don't. And I've always been like that. Even when I was playing, like, go out on a night out, I used to just socialise more so with my friends from school and that. Obviously, when you have a night out with the boys, like we did a few times and that's fine. But certain people in sport, they just socialise with just sports people. I just think
sports people, See, I still got my mates now that I from school, from youth team days. 100%. That's who I go out with. That's who if we're going out or we're meeting, that's who I'm going to see. Hardly ever. Some are, obviously, you speak to so few people in football still, but my mates are my mates that I've known for years.
That's it.
You know what I mean? And that's it.
Yeah. In terms of, I always ask this question, like, so what transferable skills have you brought from, say, football to aid you to go to uni, to be a postman, to be a coach?
I don't even know. I couldn't. I always try and I'm quite competitive in it, so regardless, I try to be the best. I still trying to learn as much as I can. It's not really that much transferring skills. I just try and give them the experience that I had, especially coaching. I try and give them the experience that I had, and maybe things that I did wrong when I coached, when I played. So I don't think I attacked my career the best I probably could. Do you know what I mean? I wasted a few years and I weren't that dedicated as I should have been. So that's now what I try and emphasize on people that I coach. You got opportunity to play football. Not even if it's not at a whatever level. If you make it, you got to try and get to the highest level you can. Got to. Could you? Why would you just be happy? You got talent and you're playing football. You know it's a good job. It's a good thing to do. You're happy doing it now. You're happy doing it at this level. So why not try and get to a better level? Try and improve.
Exactly. It's good advice. Appreciate you coming on. Obviously, we haven't spoke for years, so it's good to catch up with that. Glad that you're doing well. Happy that the family's obviously fit and healthy. Just let everyone know where we can find you. So where can we find you on the socials? In terms of your coaching, name of the company and everything else.
Well, it's Courtney Pitt 81. I'm on Twitter and Instagram and coaching at Codsall High School. If you fancy joining up, you're 16 in year 11 and you want to join up, we're in Wolverhampton area. And also Paget Rangers, we're in Birmingham area if you want to join up. If you're between 7 and 16, give me a shout.
Cool. Appreciate that. Appreciate your time. Yeah, really enjoyed the chat, and obviously we'll keep in touch. Everyone says this.
Yeah, bro.
But yeah.
No. Keep in touch, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Give me a shout, bro.
Cool, man. Take care.
All right. And you, man. Later.
See ya.